The Spoken Token is a proud member of the Pod Studio One podcast network. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the big show. I am Larry Neal.
And I'm Alex Wallace.
And we are the Spoken Token podcast. Mr. Alex, sir, how are you doing?
Larry, I mean, living the dream, my man. Living the dream. I don't know whose dream. It might be like some cockroach's nightmare. But
man.
It is a dream for somebody. I do kind of figure like it's maybe some squirrel's like kind of like high on cough medicine, and he's just like dreaming of me playing board games and going to work.
Okay, first of all, how does a squirrel get cough medicine?
Listen, those squirrels, they are resourceful, and you never know what they may actually have or be able to get.
Hilarious. So, hey, man, what's new in the gaming world with you?
So last weekend, I think I got to connect with a buddy of mine, and we played Flick 'em Up: Dead of Winter. It's the first Flick 'em Up game I've ever played.
I didn't know they had done a Dead of Winter variant.
Yes, and so
How was it?
It was interesting.
Wah, wah.
We only played one scenario. We had to play it twice because we died. I like dexterity games.
That's Dead of Winter.
This is true. I like dexterity games. There wasn't anything that really blew me away.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. It was a well thought out game with a lot of really great ideas that were executed well. It just didn't scratch the itch for me.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, you've got Crokinole, and we don't have a lot of dexterity games. And even though Crokinole definitely is a dexterity game, there's a segment in there somewhere, absolutely a dexterity game. I mean, it's so different from a lot of the modern ones. You know, the game is the mechanic, and to me, a lot of the modern ones, and please understand this is not a slight in any way towards any modern designer of a dexterity game. It seems like they're taking IPs and games and they're adding dexterity into it as a mechanic. And Crokinole, that's what the game is.
That's the game,
yeah. And that's kind of the difference. So it always feels different to me because I'm not big on I will say if somebody asks, if I had to list mechanics, dexterity would be way near the bottom for me, but I'm like you, I adore Crokinole. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but again, going back, Dungeon Fighter was one that I owned and I loved. I really did. I just
own Ed.
Yes, because no one played it with me, and
I never got a chance to play that one. I would have played it with you.
Oh, it was so much fun.
I don't worry about it.
It was so much fun.
I'm sad. Oh, hey, good news.
What's that?
Bear Attack funded.
It did. Yay! Congratulations.
Woo-hoo!
That's so exciting for me. Yeah. I did kind of watch that with a little bit of bated breath. But they pushed over the top and got 111%, I think.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we are super happy for them.
The great thing is that means we have someone else to interview. Because I don't want to have them to come back and so tell us about your failed Kickstarter.
We wouldn't ask them like that anyway.
But now we've got more content. I think I caught Carl off guard.
I know.
Oh man.
So the only other thing with me new that's going on, I don't have anything brand new per se. I chose to stay away from a lot of Kickstarters. I had a lot of high profile Kickstarters that when they popped up, I was like, darn it, I'm gonna have to get that. And when it came down to it, it was interesting because it was a choice of do this and, be a little lean in some other areas, which I mapped everything out. Nothing was going to go undone or unpaid. And it came down to it. It really wasn't that choice. It wasn't even that of go lean. I looked at him and was just like, I'm good.
Larry, you're growing.
I'm good. Well, I mean, the thing's changed now. Now, as soon as I say that, 2 new ones popped in that aren't that big that I'm probably going to jump on. We'll see. And I do want to talk about these. I don't know if you've seen this one.
Probably not.
The deluxe board game train sets.
Oh yeah, I have. Those are everywhere.
Well, it's live now. It's one.
Well, no, but I'm just saying they've advertised those for everywhere.
Right. And they've got one. I think for all 5 of them, it's like $70.
Okay.
So
you get you some trains.
So that's not bad. But the other one is Dragon Dice, which is a game that I learned about when the hobby for me entered this current phase, which is going to be circa 97, 98, probably a little bit after Catan is when I first found out about Dragon Dice. The first few sites that I used.
I'm just going to stop you. The fact that you said both circa and 97 completely dates you. Because no one pre-2000 used the word circa.
It is what it is. So moving forward, I was getting ready to say, one of the sites, early site I used to do, online game store, before I found Roll the Dice the first time, pull one out for Thought Hammer. You probably never shopped with them. They were so good. Thought Hammer was fantastic, so thoughtful. I was so sad when they went out of business. Anyway, Dragon Dice
Did
was...
you just say Thought Hammer was so thoughtful?
They were so fantastic. Well, they were thoughtful. No, get this. I spent 2 birthdays with them, and each time when I ordered, like the first time, I mentioned it. The first year I said I was trying to get something for my birthday. Was one of the Formula Ds. And I was like, I was trying to get it in time for my birthday and so. And they were like, oh, we're so sorry we missed that. When I got it, which was a couple of days after my birthday, they had a handwritten note and a happy birthday.
Oh, hell, that's sweet.
The next year I ordered something around my birthday and then said word, and a handwritten note came in and it said happy birthday.
Oh.
And so I was like, these guys are the best ever. I wish they were right down the street. Again, it's a little bit before I found Dave.
Yeah, circa.
But anyway, Dragon Dice is a game. It's kind of hard to explain. It's on Kickstarter now, and I'm going to just say this because we're going to get on into the show. For those of you who know
No,
about...
we're not. I've got a rabbit trail.
For those of you who are maybe not aware what Dragon Dice is, or for those of you that are, they have a Kickstarter campaign out now for some Frostwings, which is a reprint, but you can get the starter. Dragon Dice basically is all dice, and they're dragons, but it's also trolls and everything, and you play the game. The dice are the terrain and the monsters.
Oh.
So you roll them, and I don't remember the rule set because I looked at this for so long. I had so much of it in my cart at Thought Hammer, and I really wish I had pushed buy on it because they're really collectible now, some of those early sets. TSR is the company that first came up with it.
Yeah.
This one I'm most likely going to jump in because I have literally been looking at Dragon Dice for 20...
Yeah, circa.
It's been longer than 20 years.
Circa longer than 20 years.
Oh. Yeah, you go now. I need a minute.
So I did something fun that did not cause me to go into a self-existential crisis of how old I am. By the way,
because you're a baby.
I'm not a baby. I'm fat and round and hairy and old.
Just grew a mustache for the first time like 6 months ago.
No. Actually, where you're wrong is I've had a mustache for a very long time, but I also had a mustache as a baby. So that's not.
You were shaving in grade school too?
Yeah, it was bad. So I had big feet and hairy face.
Yeah, 6th grade. I had to shave in 6th grade.
All right. So,
had to.
Oh man.
No joke. Because it's back then, which again I'm dating myself. The teachers were like, "Carl, know what I'm talking about." It was like, "Oh, he can't have no hair on his face."
That's right.
First of all, how old is he? Ain't he 18? Why is he in the 5th grade class? Oh, he's 12. He still got to shave.
Still got to shave.
One of my good memories of my dad was my dad taught me how to shave.
No, cool.
I was in the 6th grade. Go on.
Well, now that wait a minute, that's not a rabbit trail. You went down to now I must go and curl into a ball. Okay, but I actually went to goodness gracious.
Show? Rails.
And you did it this time. But I went to PubMeeple.com and
yes, you did. Yes.
I ranked my board game collection, which was a fantastic exercise because I didn't even expect. I didn't know what I was expecting. But basically, if you do it, what you'll do is PubMeeple. They are a podcast, but they have a really cool website. It's got a lot of fun,
I concur.
A lot of fun things there to do. It's PubMeeple.com. But one of the key things that they have is they have allow you to basically rate, or not even rate, help you determine and rank, R-A-N-K, your board game collection. So what you'll do is you put in your BGG username, it pulls up your public collection, and then from there you just kind of go down and you click, what would be your top 20 or whatever, and you click through those. And then it kind of aggregates them and puts them together. And then you have to choose between 2 of them. And you go through, depending on how many you have, you'll go through this a number of times. And what it does is that it will rank them for you based because you chose this one over this one and then that one over this one, then it puts it in a list. So here is apparently my definitive ranking list 1 through 20. Are you ready?
Do you agree with it?
I don't know.
Even though you did it.
Like I look at it and I go, that's not wrong. But then again, I don't know. But I mean, in the moment, it made me pick, and I picked these. These are the games that I picked.
You know what? This is better than what we had planned for the first segment.
So,
I like it.
Okay, great. So should we just should this be the tease, and then we go to the intro music, and then we do our first segment?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Let's do it.
Fantastic.
We're back on the rails, but we're going the wrong way, Larry. Let's get into the show.
Woo-hoo! Hello, and welcome to the Spoken Token Podcast, episode number 87. This time, Alex and Larry take a look at board game collectors' behavior and check out some spring-themed games. They then discuss one of today's important topics concerning the entire board game industry, discuss strategies to more effectively teach games, and so much more. So, sit back, relax, open the windows, and let the sun shine in on your collection and turn us up as we join our hosts, Alex Wallace and Larry Neal. And we are back! Mr. Alex, sir. We're going to interrupt this regularly scheduled segment to do Alex's top 20 definitive board games.
We have to air this out. Larry, we just had a conversation.
We already aired it out.
No. Our listeners need to know. I don't care if you cut this. I have to make it. It must be known.
But if it's cut, it won't be known.
I don't care.
But it'll be out.
That's right. It'll be out there. But Larry's verbification of pooping is poo. We had a conversation about bats pooing when they poo. No, which is actually a card game about monkeys throwing poop.
I own it.
I love poop.
My nieces and nephews thought it was great. They giggled incessantly.
I used to take it to school and I would play with my students and they would go like, because I mean, it really is.
They really leaned into their demographic.
And it's a fun little game.
It is a fun little
because
game.
it's not.
For me, though, 80% of it was those little faces laughing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, because the game itself is.
I had no idea what the game was. I was laughing at them. I was loving my nieces and nephews' reaction to it.
It's not a brilliant design, but when you're like, yes, this monkey just took a giant Montezuma's revenge, eat that. You know, you don't want to eat. That's gross.
We are not out of the rabbit hole yet, I see.
No, well, I guess we need to be pooed out. All right, so we are into our
impromptu top 20.
Impromptu top 20 ranking, because you know what? What is better than listening to someone else rank their own board games? We know what the listeners love. We know what they love, and we are here.
And 20 of them.
Yes. We are here to satisfy. All right, so here we go. I will start now at the bottom.
Yes, sir.
And sort of work my way up. And, and again, I find it interesting. And if there's any that I disagree with, I'll kind of stop and go, you know what? I don't know if I would have kept it there. But I took the list as is. So here we go. Number 20, and this one surprised me, was Legacy of Dragonholt. Granted, I don't own this. Larry owns it. But
I ain't seen my copy in 4
I know.
months.
His copy resides at my house permanently.
7 months.
It's longer than that.
Been a year.
Yeah, I got it probably March of last year. So that was number 20. Number 19, Chimera Station. Like this game for me, like every time it's always, when I pull games off the shelf, like, what about this one, this one, this one? It's always in the hand. Like, I mean,
it's a fun little game.
Yeah, worker placement. It's got so many different variables with adding the different body parts to it to kind of change up what you can do. Really, really clever. This one, the number 18, is Millennium Blades. I think this one may actually be higher if I ever got to play it more. But I did get my giant collusion Kickstarter in, so I got to add a lot of extra content. And now that with the Kickstarter, they have so many dividers. Setup is so much easier. So I think.
Do you have the BGG stuff? The promo stuff?
No, I do not.
Aww.
Yeah, I know. So there's a few things that I'm missing, which is a bummer. Number 17, Endeavor, Age of Sail. This is one that I think should be higher. And unfortunately, though, I've only played it twice since I've gotten it. And it absolutely should be higher. I love this game. It's beautiful. I think this iteration of it over the regular Endeavor is top notch. Number 16, I thought this one would be significantly higher, but I'm not sad about where it is, and that's Battlestar Galactica. So Battlestar Galactica for me has had some of the most memorable times that I've ever had as a board gamer. When I think of like my top 5 moments of a board gamer, at least 2 of them are from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
But thinking through it compared to everything else in my list, like it doesn't. 16 sounds right. 16 sounds right. The experience doesn't mean that the game itself is better than other games. Now, I am interested to see Fantasy Flight. They are re-implementing this. Of course, they are going to do what theme, Larry?
Cthulhu.
Yeah, Cthulhu. So, because that's why,
They don't have to pay for it.
Yep, that's true. And if people will buy it.
Right. I mean, because they would reprint Battlestar Galactica now, I'm sure, if the IP was available.
Right.
But I mean, And it's not that it's not available. It's not important. It's not impossible. But who wants to wait through that?
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't blame them. I mean,
Yeah.
especially a board game company.
yeah,
When their revenues are tied up in putting boxes on shelves.
yeah.
I don't have $400,000 to spend to figure out who I need to pay $1 million to use the IP for 6 months.
Yeah. Well, and I
Yeah,
know,
so
and I
yeah.
mean, again, Battlestar Galactica, it doesn't resonate within the geek culture anymore. So I mean, it's not really. It does for some because it's still. Okay, I forgot Larry doesn't like Battlestar Galactica. That's right. Never mind.
No, I love the real one. I'm not crazy about the fake one.
Oh my gosh, you're so weird about things.
Because I have an opinion, because I don't agree with you.
Yes, that's exactly why.
Millennial.
No,
Typical millennial.
I'm actually not. I am no fun story. So I was born in 1983. I am in this weird little bubble generation.
We know where you lean towards, though.
No, I don't. Yes, fat and old. So
That was him, by the way, everybody. That was not me. He said that about himself.
but no, this little weird generation, like between Gen X and between Millennial.
You're younger than my brother.
I'm 83. So 19, so I'm 20 or no, 40, 30 words, numbers. 30
You're
something.
younger than my brother and my sister.
I guess so. If they were not
They were definitely here in '83. Man, I'm going home. I'm done. You're too young. I gotta go.
What that makes no sense whatsoever. But regardless, I'm in a weird generation, and we're the first generation to, as a teenagers, to grow up with the addition of the internet. So we saw the internet boom, and so we're this weird generation that explains all of my weird hiccups. All right, number 15. This one I'm so excited about. I wish it was higher, but it doesn't need to be higher. It's Rhino Hero Super Battle. So. We were talking earlier about dexterity games. This is a dexterity game. It's by Haba. I mean, it's made for little kids, but I've had more fun with this as an adult than Larry. You giving me the judgy eyes, and that is the third time in the last 5 minutes that you've done the little lock in my mouth.
You can't see me now. I'm
Oh,
behind
I
my
can
microphone
tell.
screen.
Listen, you just talked about how big your beard is. It's like the little windscreen has its own whiskers. So. All right. Number 14 is Sagrada. Great dice drafting game. Beautiful stained glass.
Yes.
You didn't.
No, I was trying to remember it.
I disregard that, sir.
No, I was trying to remember how I played it. And I was
Okay,
thinking, yes, when you said stained glasses, I played it.
Yeah. Okay. Number 13, Anachrony.
Wow.
Yeah. But as I look at my list moving forward, I have a lot of lighter games as the list goes up. Which doesn't surprise me.
Right.
So 13 was Anachrony. 12, Schotten Totten. It's a 2-player game. It's a re-implementation of Battle Line from the early 2000s. But basically, you have 9 different locations, and you're playing colored numbered cards, and you have to get suits and runs, and but it's done in a Celtic theme. It's a lot of fun.
You still own your copy of that?
Of Schotten Totten?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember you said you and Cynthia like to play it a lot.
Oh, yeah. And Schotten Totten 2 has come out within the past 12 months, and I still haven't picked that one up yet. Number 11, Cartographers. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I mean, there's no surprise. And I'm not really sure, everything moving forward will be much of a surprise to anyone who's listened to us for any amount of time. But my number 10, Seven Wonders Duel. Now, I will say that Board Game Arena has an amazing implementation of this on their website. So I actually connected with a friend of mine in Virginia over the past couple of weeks, and I taught him this, and we've probably played 10 or 11 games of it.
I can see how that one would be really awesome. This is where you have to do the cards.
Yeah.
When they're digital and they don't get out of line.
Yeah, absolutely. And it moves.
I promise I wasn't OCD as a kid. Board games brought it out in me for some reason.
But what's so great about that implementation is that it's so quick, and it does the calculations for it. I mean, it shows you what you can get. It's a wonderful. But even this, I play Seven Wonders Duel with my children. It's a great one to teach because it's a good it's not hard to learn, but it also gives you quite a bit of depth. Number 9, Treasure Island. Treasure Island, one of the most fascinating games ever developed. So it's a hidden movement game, but you get to draw on the board.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And you get to be a pirate.
It's pretty cool.
Those are the only thing that would make this game better is if there was somehow a cowboy in it. Because pirates, hidden movement, and cool mechanics are three of my favorite things. My fourth thing is cowboys.
And see, mine would be, big stomping
Space,
robots
yeah,
and lasers.
yeah.
But that'd be great though. But no, I love this game though. It's really fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, just and when I learned after like my 6th or 7th game, when I learned that there was a social component where, wait, Long John Silver lies, but what if I, the player, lied?
Oh, you was lying the first time we played.
Nah, not like lie, but I lie, and it's fun. All right, number 8, Star Wars Imperial Assault. This is, oh my gosh. Did I tell you, I finally finished my collection.
Yes.
Yes, and so I have all of the big boxes. There's a couple of little smaller figures that I need, and I'm just waiting. I think this is the summer where Jackson, I'm going to be able to get a bunch of his buddies together, and I'm going to be that creepy dad like, hey, boys.
Don't do it, man.
You want to come?
Oh, don't do that.
Come and play Star Wars.
And definitely don't advertise it on our show.
That's a good point. I'm not going to do that. But I am excited to play with Jackson and his friends because I mean it's Star Wars and it's a Star Wars RPG.
But Jack is what, 12 now?
11. He'll be 12, but he's going into the 6th grade.
Yeah, no, this is prime time.
Yeah,
for those
this
guys.
is it. This
10,
is
10
it.
to 13. Yeah,
This will be
they'll
incredible.
look that up.
So, and I get
Good
to be the bad guy and like torment them. It's fantastic. I love
We're
it.
going to do that anyway.
This is true. It's a good point. Though their app implementation is pretty fantastic. FFG has a free download that it runs the Empire for you.
So you can play it by yourself.
Yes, or you can just like if it's you and another person,
You guys can both be on the same side.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which is
Or you can play it solo.
yes, it's true.
Oh, okay.
It's true. Yes, you can play it solo, Larry. All right, number 7. Probably my most talked about game of last year, and that is The Crew: Quest for Planet 9. And that's no surprise to me. I can still look at this and go, "Yep, I'd play that. I'd play one hand of that. Let's do that." So, not a surprise here. Number 6, WarChest. I just I don't know why, but I just rediscovered this game a couple of weeks ago.
I got my expansion.
Oh yeah. Maybe that was why I pulled it out and just started playing. Actually, no, Alston and I played it
So
together.
good.
Yeah, and it just was like, man, it like this. I think if I had like this is a desert island game for me. Not all of the ones that I am enter my top 10 would be desert island, but I definitely think WarChest would be
Right.
desert
And I'll say
island.
this about WarChest, man, especially from what I've seen so far, just learning, walking through the new pieces, man, they can keep putting out expansions from now on, dude. I'll buy every one of them. It's adding so much because of what's there. That's all that's needed in terms of making it different. And I say that's needed, and it's not necessarily a need, but it's a want for that game that absolutely can make it better. Sure, they could probably release some pieces that would be awful, but they don't show any signs of doing that. So as of now, expansions come for that one. I'm snapping them up because it's so good, dude.
Yeah.
So good. Better just throw those in with no new rules. Just learn what the new pieces do and just go for it. Oh,
Yeah, and I thank you because you're one of the you're the one that introduced me to that game.
yeah. Well, it sounded phenomenal when I saw it, and I was like, I know it too.
And it was
I
one
gotta
of the-
do it. I gotta do it.
It was one of those games where I was just like, this is one of those weird games that Larry likes that I would think is super boring.
Because I was excited about it over when it was announced over at Gen Con.
Mhm.
That was one of my Gen Con games. Yeah.
All right.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, occasionally. You like some weird things.
Oh.
All right, number 5 is Western Legends. They're just so fun.
Wait, what happened?
Number 5.
Oh, okay. Legends. Gotcha.
Western Legends.
I'm thinking Western Trail, Oregon Trail, or
Oregon.
the one
Yes.
you got rid of. The other one, not Legends though.
Legends,
Legends
Great
is,
Western Trail.
Great Western Trail is when I was. I
Yeah,
was like, you don't even
yeah.
have that anymore. But
No.
no. Yeah, this one's good. I like this one. Too.
Yeah, so much. Again, this you need more. You got to have people though. Got to have people. All right, number 4, Onitama, 2-player.
Good game.
Yeah, gosh, like, well, I mean, again, talked about it a bunch. Number 3, Isle of Cats. Got to
Yep.
get me some cats. Got to get me some cats that fit on.
Surprised y'all got a dog
On
as
a
much
boat.
as you love cats.
Well, honestly, we would have gotten a cat, but me and my son and myself are both allergic.
Oh,
Yeah, so we just couldn't do it to him.
yeah, I ain't missing nothing.
So I love cats. Cats are great,
Mhm.
especially if you have an isle of them with a boat.
If they like you,
So this is true.
and when they get over hunting you for sport.
This is Larry. I really
Dude, climbing up on the curtains and just walking back and forth along the road. And when somebody comes through, just jumping down on them. No, man, I'm good. Give me a dog every time. I'm good.
I feel there's some
That's
things
some crazy cat behavior, man.
we might need to process through. I'm just talking about games, man. I'm just talking about not your
Man.
traumatic experience with some cat.
Man,
All right, number 2 is Crokinole, which actually that surprised me for how high up on the list that was. I thought that I didn't think that it would be that high, but again, as I compared it to everything that it was asking me to, it's like, no, I'd rather play that.
Gotcha.
I'd rather play that.
Okay.
And then number one, I want you to see if you can. Well, I already texted it to you, didn't I? Didn't I text you my list?
Mm-mm.
I did, but you don't remember. Don't look. What do you think my number one game is? Stop looking.
I don't think you did.
I did because I just checked my text message and I
You
saw
didn't.
it. But this was like 2 days ago. Remember? And you're like, I don't want to.
I ain't going back that
Yeah,
far.
exactly. Okay, because you text a lot.
I ain't going back that
Okay, but all right. What's my number one game? What do you think?
far. Oh, man, I don't know.
Come on.
There's a couple of them on there I would have said. What's the stupid game?
Wait,
It's not
yes,
stupid.
It would be my number one game, and your first thought was, what is the stupid game?
No, it's not that stupid game. Monumental.
Did not make my list.
Wow. Okay. Dice Hospital.
Did not make my list.
I knew. I'm trying to think of things we've played. I don't know, man. You got me stumped on that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got me stumped.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. My number one game.
I'll tell you if it even entered my head when you say it.
Okay. Is Orleans.
Didn't even enter my head. And
Really?
it should have. Because, yeah, that's a good one. I can see that. Didn't even think about
Yeah,
it.
Orleans. It's a bag builder. It yes, you have to say it with such a very
Orleans.
Orleans. In French. He's a bag builder.
Okay.
So, all right, yeah, but no, it's a bag builder, and it's also a worker placement game. And
It's a masterpiece is what it is.
yeah, it really is. I have loved this game for so long. Dave introduced it to me, and then I was able to get a copy from through a trade, I believe, brand new copy, and I just adore it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's that beautiful blend of tactile and interesting, but also deep and rich, but forgiving, and which I really enjoy. A game.
I guess I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can play poorly and do poorly.
As I've done
Yes, which you do a lot
every
of times.
time that I play that particular game, though I still love
But
it.
it is also a game in which you can kind of change directions. You can
Yeah.
course correct, and I just really love it.
Yeah.
So I look at this list and I'm not super satisfied with it. Now that I know how it came out, I think I might want to go back.
Well, and this is what I was going to ask you. What is the process? How does it get you to?
So
come up with
ultimately, what it does is you scroll down your BGG list. So what you have in your collection, and then you just click like what games do you like, or special to you or whatever. So and then it just gives you a list.
Oh, it took me forever. I got 510 games.
Okay, well that's fine. But then the ones that just like jump off and you're like, yeah, I really like that one. I really like that one. I really like that. So mine ended up coming up with 20, and then. You'll submit and it says, do you really want to compare these 20? And you'll have to make lots of choices. And I said, yeah, sure, whatever.
Against each other?
Yes. And so then,
Oh.
what it does is it will present you with a screen. So like
Interesting.
it would say Treasure Island and Millennium Blades. Which would you rather? Which is better? So then you would click Millennium. Like let's say you clicked Treasure Island. So Millennium Blades would leave, and then maybe another game pops up to Treasure Island, or it brings you 2 new games.
Gotcha.
And then eventually it will start putting like the same game versus a number of things. And so based on your preference per game, it ranks them that way. So
Really
it's a
cool.
really smart system.
Really cool. My brain doesn't work that way. I'd still be sitting there from the other day when you texted it to me, trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like what it does because instead of evaluating based on the list in front of you, it says, okay, simply, would you choose this game or this game?
Yeah.
And so then by doing that numerous times, it gives you plenty, like it kind of does it for you. And so it makes, but I'm not really big on lists anyway, because I always think like, well, what if I miss something? Or like,
Well,
I feel like I like these games better today, or,
Right.
or that. So I don't want like this to define me, but I'm also not, and I think here's the biggest caveat that I walk away with this is, I think some of these games would be higher on my list if I had an opportunity to play them more.
Well, sure. No, and that's 100% true for all of them, really. I mean,
And so when I look at these lists, specifically my top 9, top 10, these are some of the games that I have played the most.
yeah, exactly. And
that's because they're easy to get to the table.
but also too, I mean, that's why I was thinking about the way that this is set up. That's why I was curious as to how they did the process, since I didn't go through it. That's really kind of the only way that it can be. For everybody, you're gonna, the games that you've recently played, unless you've come across, several, or the few that you completely can't stand, which you'll never check anyway.
Mhm.
So those wouldn't have even made major lists.
Mhm.
So for pretty much everybody, the way this is set up, it's still a neat exercise. But yeah, like I said, for me, yeah, as big as my collection is, yeah, because I started on it and it took me a minute to start on the import. And then, yeah, I thought about the thing that we were talking about. And I said, I'll hold off since he's already done it. We'll see how the results end up from with his. But no, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, and that's a neat tool. I like it. I mean, it's a very interesting list. I mean, you look at that list, that's some really good gameplay on that. And that's your top 20 of games that not only have you played, but with the exception of one of them that you currently own.
Mhm.
So that's like from your collection. So that's
I
pretty cool.
still technically own Legacy of Dragonholt.
No, you don't technically own none of it.
I do.
No, you just got a copy in your house, but you don't own zero of it.
Oh, we'll discuss that after the break.
Well, no, we done. We done discussed it. You don't own none of it. But I hear you. And we should go to a break.
And we're back.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, hey, Alex, ask you a question.
Oh, please do. As long as you ask said question in a particular style that represents an iconic character circa 1995. So yes, please.
Look at you with the big words.
Yes.
So, Alex, do you do that?
Oh, it's so close. It's not the actual cat phrase. Cat phrase? Oh, the cat's coming for me, Larry.
Oh man.
Not the actual catch phrase. I guess the cat got my tongue, but it is very close. And your impression was pretty good.
Oh, thank you. It's a new segment we're doing. What we want to do, we're going to take a look.
Wait, time out. We got to realize that there's probably several of our listeners who are younger than us that have no idea who you just referenced.
Oh, everybody know who Steve Urkel is.
Why not? But they don't. They actually don't.
They do. There are people that know Steve Urkel that don't know the TV show.
No, I don't know. Maybe they've seen a meme of him or like.
Yeah,
oh,
did
okay,
I
fair
do
enough.
that?
Yeah. Yes. All right. Steve Urkel. Is it Michael Jaleel White? Is that his name?
Jaleel White.
Jaleel White. Michael Jaleel White. That's the.
We put extra name in there.
No,
I don't know where that Michael came from.
No, he's the guy that played Jax in the original Mortal Kombat movie. I'll have to look. I'm stuck.
You talking about Michael Jai White?
No, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, the karate guy.
Yeah.
No, not him.
Okay, so all right, there it is.
So
I was close.
So what we're gonna take a look basically at some hobby board game enthusiast specific behavior. So those of us who collect hobby board games,
Larry, we just stepped into a very dark world.
Yes, there's certain things that we all do together. There's certain things that we do towards our collection, towards playing games, towards life, and we want to use this segment to kind of identify some of those things and have some fun at them and maybe bring some light to them. So this first one we want to talk about seasonal gaming. So what we mean by that is when it comes springtime, do you go clamoring to your shelves for your spring games? At the first snow, are you going to find all your snow games? Halloween, do you have spooky games on the table? So we're not going to talk about all the seasons today, but we are going to, since we're getting into spring, we're going to talk about some spring games. And I want to spend some time not just talking about the games, but again, talking about the habit of doing that. I tend to do that sometimes. And if I don't have a game for a season, I may not try to go out and find one, but if I have one, they do tend to hit the shelf. Alex, what about you, man? I know we're talking about springtime games, but this one is, and this is the top part of it, why I don't want to get into the games just yet. This one, we want to focus on the behavior of it, the reason why. So I was asking you, do you tend to do that and why? And what are some of the reasons why that you do that?
I honestly, springtime doesn't.
Any season, but springtime specifically.
Other seasons do elicit let me play something that is in the same, like that kind of gets me into that spirit.
Right, and why? That's what we're
okay, so all right, so
yeah.
All right, fair enough. Well, I am someone who enjoys I enjoy holidays. Holidays are special for me.
Right.
I enjoy the demarcation, the novelty of unique days,
right,
and the lead up to that.
Yeah.
And what I found as a board gamer is that having a board game that kind of coincides with that theme is just one more way for me to sit in the joy that is the anticipation of that scene.
Yeah.
And so, because, there's the same reason, like, you watch, Halloween movies as it's coming up,
right,
or you watch Christmas
Right.
movies or this
Right.
or
Right. And with games, it's a little bit, it's the same, it's the exact same thing. You're right. But with games, it's a little different because you're actually having to go and do something other than just sit
yeah,
there
yeah,
and take something in. And that
yeah,
basically, my answer is the same. I like the way you worded it. It's a way for me to feel like I'm more participating.
yeah,
In
that's a great
yeah, in the season, whatever it may be. And like I said, spring is the one that we want to talk about now because we're at spring, so that does kind of theme it a little bit. But that exactly what you said. That's the reason why I do it too. It's like when the season comes out, whether I've got something on my table where I'm trying to play for us or something that I just wanted to play, I find myself in couple of the games on this list did it. One of them by this year by default of being on my table for months. But one of them, I'm looking up thinking, oh, I'm going to play this, I'm going to play that. And I got a couple of new games I was learning, but one of my games on the list came out because, it's springtime. It's time for me to play my game. And that's what made me think about it. I said, yes, I wonder how many collectors of board games, I wonder how many of us do that. It's spring, as soon as it's snowing outside, you're going and running for something that's a snow game or something. But so that, I feel the same way. I mean, we do it. Hey, guys, if you're listening to us and you do that, you're not alone and you're okay. It's a safe place here. It's fine.
It's a safe place.
Continue playing your game seasonally because we do as well. And I want to share, just like I said, a few of them. What Alex was saying, alluding to the list, wasn't the most important part of this short segment. The first one for me is bottom of the ninth, which is, of course, a baseball game, which I love that game. It plays well solo. It's fun together, too. The pitcher batter duel in this game really mimics what, at least for me, because I played baseball competitively, youth baseball. So it reminds me of what that is. When you're out there, you got all your coaching and your teammates, the ump and all that other stuff, but it's just you and that pitcher. When he's got that ball in his hand and he's getting ready to throw it and you're holding the bat, it's the two of you trying to figure out what the other one's getting ready to do. And it's all at every level of baseball is like that. So that was one of the cool things. And that's one of the cool things I think they nailed in that one. It's not that hard to get a hold of now. And it was never that expensive. And there's quite a bit of content for it. They even did some Sentinels of the Multiverse stuff, crossover in terms of some of the character cards that are involved. And the cards look like baseball cards. The old school baseball cards that used to come in the pack. For those of you who may not know what those are, look those up. And that's really cool and a little nostalgic piece. But that one always comes out in the springtime. The next one for me is Mystic Vale. It's got that spring edition, but it just kind of always, it's got the whole new life thing and the lush green valleys. I like the card crafting system, and even though this wasn't the full implementation of it in terms of the rules as they were initially devised, and this was just merely the function in and of itself, I like this implementation of it. It's a flavor that I can always go back to. It's kind of like the vanilla from what we've seen come out lately of card crafting system, but hey, I like vanilla. Vanilla's just fine. But this one always puts me in the mindset of it, and it's kind of a warm spring, new life, springing forth, that type of thing, which I really love that about it. Then this next one is the one that I was talking about earlier that is, it's time to go play Ascension again. Normally, Ascension comes off the shelves in the springtime at any version. I put Gift of the Elements on there because since I have gotten that version, it's got a kind of a new birth, new life type thing. The elements are coming alive. It's got some really neat new mechanics specific to this particular version of Ascension. So if you own other versions and don't own this one, it's worth looking for from that standpoint. But Ascension Gift of the Elements is definitely one of my springtime games. My other one is Photosynthesis, which I do have yet to have a full game of, but I've had it on the table a couple of times. But just the mechanics, man. New trees trying to grow, trying to get sun, trying to outcompete each other. I just think about spring when I see that one. And then the last one is one that I talked about a lot in the last couple of weeks that just is brand new to the list this time, and that's, of course, Freshwater Fly. It will definitely be on the list from now on. It's probably going to be a year-round solo game because it's so fun solo. But springtime, I've fished from standing in the streams. I fished standing in the lake. I fished in a river, and I fished standing in the ocean too. Clearly, I wasn't fly fishing, but I've done that, so I understand where that comes from, and they were, of course, all in the spring. And it's singular. For those of you who haven't done it, it is a singular experience, especially the stream fishing, because the fish would literally swimming past us, and then we're not moving, and then we're casting, and then some of those fish, I don't know if we caught anything that swam past us, but you're seeing them move past you. It's quite an experience. I mean, it was quiet that day. Of course, it was beautiful. It was really hot, and the water was cool, so at least from the waist down, I was cool, but from the waist up, I was sweating. But it was a really, really neat experience. And Freshwater Fly is just such a good experience. So those are just a few of the games that I've played. Alex, what are some few? I know you don't necessarily go spring, but when you go to spring, what do you think of? Does anything just pop up in your head?
Honestly, I mean, spring is not one of those that I'm like, oh, it's springtime, I want to go do that. I will say one game I have thought about for a while, but have never actually purchased. I've tried to pick it up maybe a couple of times, that I do when I think of baseball, I do think of baseball highlights
2048.
2048.
It's so good. Have you played that?
I have not.
Played it with the creator
Did you really?
at Origins.
Okay.
He was there at Origins that year. It wasn't quite out yet. The guy who designed and developed it, an older gentleman, huge lifelong baseball. I want to say he was an engineer or something.
Mm-hmm.
He was at retirement age, and this is what he wanted to do. And he'd been working on the design for years. It shows it.
Mm-hmm.
What he took to them when he showed them what he had, they were just like, "This is ready to go now." But he's like, he'd been working on it for forever. It's such a good game.
Yeah, and
It's such a good game.
But as I do dig into it, I think football highlights. I think I would actually enjoy more based on the just the type of game it is. And the only other thing that really sort of jumped out at me, and that was just because of the idea of spring and of vegetation, and that's root.
Okay.
Just because it's so brightly colored.
Yeah, it is that.
Yeah, and it has all of this idea of like cute little animals, and and I think it kind of makes me think of spring. And then I guess if you wanted to, I mean, Everdale has a. Granted,
I thought about Everdale.
I haven't.
It's
played
moving
it.
through all the seasons, but
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's moving through all the seasons. But I thought about it too. But that's the reason why I didn't include it. It probably will be added here eventually for me to one of the seasons, most likely. But yeah, you're getting ready for all of the
I will
seasons.
say, all right. So I'm going to throw this last one out here called Arboretum. So Arboretum is a Renegade game, and especially the deluxe version. Beautiful game about trees,
Arboretum?
and you basically you just kind of put them in a line, and so
I don't think I played it. I don't own Arboretum.
Yeah.
This one I brought with me was
herbaceous.
Yeah, is a honorable mention, and it absolutely is an honorable mention. Have you played this one, Herbaceous?
I have not.
I think you may like it.
You've talked about it a lot.
Real zen and real laid back. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, you're planting plants on your and potted plants.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and you're trying to grow the plants, so it's really neat. It's really laid back. This guy will play 1 to 4, and of course, it's got the beautiful art by Beth Sobel.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, this was before Wingspan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. And a little bit of game. And again, small box. Pencil First did this one. We'll have a link to everything as well as your list of 20s in the show notes. So make sure that you hop into the show notes if you want to get links to all of these games that we've mentioned today. And do you do that? Yes, I do. Well, we both do. We play our games based on the season sometimes, and they interrupt what other gaming life thing we may have going on. Alex, not so much for the spring, but we do both do it. And if you do it again, it's a safe place here. You're okay. Welcome. Come in. Take a seat. So we're going to go on, I guess, and end this segment, my friend. And we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
We want to thank the sponsors of today's episode, our friends at Van Ryder Games.
Creators of award-winning games such as the single-player Hostage Negotiator and the One vs. Many Detective City of Angels.
You can find their full catalog of games, including their graphic novel adventures, at vanrydergames.com. That's VANRYDERGAMES.com, your FLGS, or wherever you buy your games online.
All right, we are back. Mr. Alex, since you're a teacher, are you a teacher's pet?
No, I'm not. I'm actually
Do you have pets as your teacher?
not in my classroom. I mean, I do have some children that act like animals occasionally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
that's not totally different from what I'm
I
asking.
do.
Okay.
Spray them with a little water bottle. Yeah, that's right.
But what we want to talk about in this segment, this is another new segment that we wanted to get into. And what we want to do, we want to look at how to mitigate your personal feelings when you're teaching a new game to a group in order to make sure that the experience is best for everyone. And so we want to start off with both of the, I guess, polar opposite scenarios that could be, which is A, you absolutely love this game and you can't wait for somebody else to play it, or B, you cannot stand this game. It's Larry teaching Enigma. Why is Larry teaching Enigma? It's a puzzle.
I really want to know. No, wait, no.
So-
Before you get any further, at what point, what has to happen for you to be in front of a group of people who have never played Enigma for you to actually teach that to them? What is the scenario that makes that happen?
It could happen in game days. You kidding? It could happen at any convention. If I was asked and pulled in, and if I knew the game, it doesn't matter the game, I would teach it. I would.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why I did this. And I'm going to say this too. I'm going to say this
Ooh,
officially because
say
it's
officially.
yeah, because it's not, and it's not a negative thing. The year I volunteered to teach games at BGG, which was amazingly fulfilling when I did the coach thing that year.
BGG?
At BGG. Ha ha ha. Game days.
Okay.
Maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was really fulfilling meeting the families, taking them through the games, being one of the teachers on the tours that they do. Those games, I want to say I taught 3 games. I didn't know any of them. And I haven't
That's how I feel like a teacher most days.
I haven't bought, I haven't purchased any of them. And I probably would only purchase one of the 3. Now, I would play any of the 3.
Yeah.
I would play them anytime I really would. But in terms of me saying I know I'm going to get that to the table because I'm going to be the one bringing it out, I probably would only do the one of them. But again, that's kind of where this came from too. That segment was that year because as I'm reading the rules, I'm doing that. That's what I'm sitting there thinking like, wow, would I play this? Wow, do I even like this? Wow, it doesn't matter. I need to make sure that the people who have signed up for this tour to play these games have as much fun as possible. So that's kind of what I want to talk about in terms of how do you, some of the things you can do to kind of mitigate that, or how do you go into that particular frame of mind. Now do you kind of know where my baseline is? Why don't you start us off? What are some of the things that you do to make sure that you don't let either one of those things bleed through your teaching session?
Well, number one, I find myself teaching games just because the amount of games that I have played, I'm usually the person who is more familiar than others. The problem is in my gaming group, I am the one that they just burned his mouth on some coffee. And you all right?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it.
That's my number one rule for teaching games.
That hurt my face.
Don't drink hot coffee when you're trying to teach. Because then if you think of something funny, you just laugh and then you just spit it out on everybody and they burning. That just ruins the whole game experience. So actually, I do have a joke for you. Are you ready? It's connected. Okay, here you go. So, what do you call a Viking who bit his tongue? Thor.
So the point you were making again, you were making a great point.
It's Thor.
Let's throw it back to Alex and
Thor, because
back to you, Alex.
his tongue is bit. And you burnt your tongue. And your tongue is Thor. All right. So I am usually I'm really bad at actually knowing like actual rules. And so
Oh, that's good to know.
but so here's my number one thing is if you were
Know the rules.
if you're the person teaching, know the rule. Well, no, because actually what happens is that I make educated assumptions. No, I really do. This is an honest to God thing. Like,
no, I'm laughing because it's true.
yes, I'm like, oh, so it would make sense to me that in this game that if this happens, then this would happen. So I get all these games mixed up. So if I'm teaching you, I always say, okay, here's what I want. I have a general knowledge of this game. I want you, Larry, to hold the rule book, and when I don't know something, like you go check it out. So my first rule is that when I'm teaching a game, I am very upfront and very honest with the people that I am teaching. It's like,
Yes.
here is my level of understanding of this game. And so therefore I'm going to do my absolute best to push you in the right direction. Based on how comfortable I am, like I really tell them, like, please have the rule book, because there are going to be parts that I am either going to just say wrong or not know at all. And so I think it's imperative that you honestly represent your knowledge of a game when you are teaching it. Because one of the worst things that you could do is pretend to be an expert and teach it wrong.
That guy.
Like,
that guy.
for real.
Well, no, I'm with you on that. No, and you know what's funny for me, on top of everything you said in terms of knowing the rules, and that was for me, again, that was kind of the epitome of me teaching games. And it's funny because I think I got a bit of a reputation. Oh man, he's great at teaching games. Man, you guys have no idea. It was like a class. I spent so much time learning those rules, because that's the thing. I did not want to, like you just said, I didn't want to ruin their experience, but I didn't want to be telling them the wrong thing. But I realized, hey, in this instance, you are the authority. You're the one who said, I'm going to learn this, and then I'm going to teach you to it and take you through it. So when they have questions, you got to understand, and you don't want to be flipping to the book. And that's kind of my first point, is that you want to know the game well enough in either one of these situations where you don't have to go to the book. Having the book out, it should absolutely be out, and someone else should absolutely have it. I totally agree with that. But you don't want to have to be flipping to it a whole lot if you want the smoothest, best experience. Now, for me, in terms of mitigating your feelings, if I really, really love a game, I mean, absolutely, positively love it, I have a confession. If I know the group and I know that they're probably going to love it too, I'll be honest, I don't mitigate my feelings too much. My excitement comes through and teams come, this group's probably going to love it. So, this game is great. But if I am teaching a group of people and I don't know if they're going to like it, if they're going to go with it, then I do simply just, as to coin a phrase, curb my enthusiasm, and just give them just the facts, nothing but the facts. Just try to run straight through.
Just the facts.
Yep, this is how you play the game. These are the situations. And then once the light bulbs start going off at the table, then my enjoyment of it may ratchet up a lot. They may see how much I'm really getting into it. Because I don't want people to, because sometimes, when you're learning a new game, what do? You just like you're a kid all over again. You're looking around at the table to see how you should react. Well, how's he taking it? Oh, yeah, that's a good part. Yeah, because he thought it was good. I think it's good. It's like, no. So I want to make sure that you're just getting the rules, and then we'll go through it. Now, the flip side, which I haven't had to do yet, the closest I got was the Tennessee Game Days thing. If you hate the game or you don't like it and you're having to teach the game, a lot of the basic stuff is just the same. But I do think there's a couple of different things that you can look at. For one, for me personally, I'm looking at, this is an opportunity for somebody to like a game that will help out this company and this designer and this developer. So I'm going to give it my best because I already know that I can't stand it.
Yeah.
So I try to, that's one thing I have to key on. It's like, these guys may like the game. I don't ever catch myself saying, you know what, let's don't play this. Let's play such and such because I like it better. I definitely wouldn't do that.
Yeah, well, because if you're teaching a game, you're already in a situation in which the group has decided that this is the game that we want to play.
Absolutely.
So adding your judgment about the game, and we talked about this last episode.
Huge no.
Yeah, with Rodney's rant. I mean, it does not matter your feelings of the game.
Right.
You have been tasked with teaching it.
Right.
So just, remove them feelings.
Right. So teach the game, look at it, try to look at the positives that you can, and you never know. The fact that you don't, this is my other big one for this one. I wanted to make sure I get this one out. For the games that you don't like, the other thing, revisit the rules as deeply as you can, because you never know. You may not like it because you've been missing something.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have an understanding of the way a mechanic is supposed to go. Because of the IP, maybe you're thinking about it as something else that it's really not. Going back in and reading that rule book for yourself, revisiting that rule book, knowing it well enough to teach, may let you help you take a second look at it with a fresh eyes and be like, well, this might not be so bad.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of the things that I would say.
I think one of the things to do also, or to avoid, is, especially if there's a group of new players and you're a teacher, avoid trying to give them like you should do this. After you sort of taught the rules.
Yeah.
And don't armchair quarterback anybody. Let them experience the game. Now, if they have questions,
different story.
Yeah.
Answer the question.
Absolutely.
What would you do here? Well, I would probably do this.
Right. And here's why, because this does this.
Yeah.
And this does
remembering
this.
the rules, it says, teach them some more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Remember the rules, it says this, remember later on in the game. Because a lot of times when you get those things, and this is something we probably need to talk about, the hook of a game from open game to end game, that's hardly ever. I can't think of any time where it's, for me personally, where it's adequately displayed in the rule book. I don't get it. A lot of times we'll sit at the table, we're in the end game, and I'm just like, oh, and it's like, dude,
missed that.
End game started like 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But it's like, I was still coming to grips with what he taught me.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to think about the end game.
And so here's one thing, as an actual educator, here is what if you have the ability to do, give them, and to speak to exactly to what you're talking about, allow them, what is the objective? Like, give them, if you know and you can speak to it, say, here is what actually matters and what you're attempting to do.
Yeah.
Because if you start at, point number 1 in the rule book, and you walk through it, you're actually, a lot of the people who are, think about yourself when you're learning a new game. You're not ingesting all of those rules.
Right.
It mostly makes sense when you are kinesthetically engaging with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a teacher, walk through, maybe, take a faux turn. All right, well, and before you even share any of the rules. So here is what a turn looks like. You do this, you do that, and
That's
then
how I got into solo playing.
And then step back away and go. But ultimately, all of this points to this goal. Like if someone would have, I can't even remember the game for me. I know Rising Sun. When if at the beginning of the game before it was taught, if the end game cards were sort of said, okay, here is what you have to look forward to, or what you want to move to, then I think I would love that game a whole lot more. Actually, no, I would like that game a whole lot more because I said, okay,
you would actually like it,
right? Because because what happened is in my first playthrough, I did what the thing I thought the game was asking me to do.
Right, and then that twist came.
But then at the end, I didn't have a good understanding of what was actually needing to be done.
Yep.
And I wasted the entire game and came in last.
Exactly, yeah. No, I get it. I mean, that's what I was saying a minute ago. Yeah, when that hook comes, a lot of times the books don't adequately set you up for that per se. It's in there.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're getting so much thrown at you.
And I just want to say this too. Listen, everyone. I'm speaking to you, the listener. You as a student at school, which teacher did you like the best? Was it the teacher that said, hey, let me read from the book? Or was it the teacher that said, hey, I know the book. Now let me help you connect the dots. And then point you to the book when the book was necessary. It's the teacher that engaged you that way. So
because of the decade in which I was born,
I
don't have to remember teachers. So I don't. So there.
Excuse me. We have spent hours on this podcast talking about your English teacher. All right. What was that lady's name, Carl? Do you remember? You remember the English teacher?
He doesn't. But I remember him.
Yeah. What was your English teacher's name that we spent like 30 minutes about?
Doherty was the one we were talking about, but also Drake as well.
See? Don't give me this. I don't remember.
And Williams too. I can't leave her out. Loved my English. No, I was being serious. No, I loved my English. Well, English was my jam, so I loved him. I love my English teachers. Math teachers, legit. Can't remember one of them. Not even kidding. I'm getting chills remembering faces because I do remember what they look like, but I don't remember. I literally don't remember.
Apparently, they were all ghosts.
So,
well, cool.
But no, I think that's good. I think, that's really good stuff. And the last thing I did want to make another point, and you touched on it. So I was debating on whether or not, but I want to bring it out because you touched on it so eloquently. And you kind of gave it some meat.
Eloquently.
No, you were. You gave it the meat. So let me give it a little bit of bone. Remember, guys, when you're teaching any game for anybody, either way, whether you like it, don't like it, whatever, just remember you're throwing a lot of information at them. Okay?
Yes.
It's a lot of information to
absorb.
absorb.
Know the room.
So if you're going to stick around and play it, you can mitigate that some because you'll be there to answer those questions. And you should, again, I think, reference them back to the book. Hey, remember, because in the book rules, it said this. But if you're not going to play the game, if it's one of those situations where it is at a convention and you drop it in to teach it and you're moving on, then just remember that in your delivery, okay? You can't do anything about it. If you're not playing at the next table over, or if you're not somebody who's, that's your skill that day is that you're roaming around helping teach, then you can't do anything about it. So do your best job and just remember that first run you give them, I'm giving you guys a lot of info. Keep that book out, and I promise you I'm going to cover all of this stuff with you, but trust me, guys, when the game twists at the end, y'all are going to be reading the book. It's okay. Because I'm about to tell you now what you need to know, but in the top of the game and getting started and getting playing, y'all are going to forget it. But when the game twists, just go to the book with confidence, but we are going to cover it now. Just remember that. You're throwing a lot of information at them, so just be mindful of that. And I believe, my friend, it is time for Wow.
Wow.
So we have come to the end of another episode. Everyone, please don't forget we've got a contest running out there on the Instagrams. So we want to see pictures of you playing your favorite space-themed games for an amazing prize. We will get a picture of that up on Instagram here soon, so you'll be able to see the actual mini. Also, don't forget we've got a promotion if you are here in Nashville or in the Middle Tennessee area with GamePoint. There is a code that you can get 10% off when you are at the store. So either curbside pickup or if you're going in and actually ordering something. And Alex, the code is what?
Token 10. TOKEN, the number 10.
Fantastic. Remember, guys, 10% off at GamePoint Cafe there in Nashville. By all means, go by, use the code, get 10% off board game purchases. It's for board game purchases. Whether you go in the store because you can walk in the store and order something, or if you order it online for curbside pickup. They're not able to ship at this time. So, with all of that said, for the Spoken Token, this is Larry Neal saying keep communicating.
And this is Alex Wallace saying keep playing.
Cha-ching.
Ew.
This has been the Spoken Token Podcast. If you would like to interact with us, please find us at Facebook at The Spoken Token, on Instagram at The Spoken Token Podcast. Our Twitter account is at The Spoken Token. Email is thespokentokenpodcast@gmail.com. And our BGG guild number is 2656.
You are listening to a Pod Studio One Podcast Network podcast. Find more great podcasts at www.podstudio1.com.